No matter how the cachet of the WNBA elevates, remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up. You messed it up.
The WNBA might have changed forever if Caitlin Clark had accepted an offer from Europe.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
The WNBA is acting quickly because it appears that Caitlin Clark may soon be moving to Europe. Maybe you ought to have thought about being a little more civil to your big star now. The WNBA will suffer greatly from Caitlin. Without CC, who would watch?
She will do her best. I know she's talented, but she's not strong enough and she doesn't have enough experience right now to compete at this.
These are the inexperienced people who won't handle the WNBA situations Caitlin faced during the season. Take a look at what transpired. The WNBA was in shambles as she blasted her way past broken records like there was no future.
Nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only from...
Caitlin had no choice but to follow these analysts' advice. The continued animosity directed at her is sufficient. She needs a fresh start in a league that truly appreciates its top players and doesn't discriminate against them.
Look at what the NBA became. Even when Jordan was ascending and the league clearly saw that that was the dude and Nike was marketing the living hell out of Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. It was still Bird and Magic.
Reports state that Caitlin Clark has been offered a fantastic contract to perform in Europe. There is more to the story, even though it seems like she is ready to accept. In spite of all the recognition, admiration, and undeniable influence she has had on the game, Caitlin Clark has encountered numerous difficulties in the WNBA. From the lack of appropriate support on the court to the league's incapacity to sufficiently safeguard its best players. These difficulties have led to what may be one of the most startling job choices in history. At last, Caitlin has had enough of the WNBA's treatment of her, and she is finally deciding to quit the league after facing countless frustrations. Her departure might have disastrous repercussions that rock the WNBA to its foundation. Let's be honest, the WNBA hasn't always treated Caitlin Clark with the respect or decency that a player of her caliber merits, which is why she decided to leave the league and relocate to Europe. It's clear that Clark has had enough, whether it's the league's seeming lack of concern, the players' constant harassment, or the lack of security on the court. We have repeatedly seen rival players go overboard with aggressive and occasionally dangerous play while protecting Clark, getting away with employing excessive aggression. It appears as though the league has allowed these strategies to persist unchallenged.
You weren't making a basketball argument. You weren't making a basketball argument.
We're not saying we were making a basketball
No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
No, it wasn't a handout.
Look at her numbers. Look at her numbers comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all I'm...
Given that the WNBA is aware that Clark's presence on the floor draws attention and boosts viewing, one could even argue that they have let this behavior to continue. Ultimately, a little drama sparks conversation. However, the lack of protection has gone too far for Caitlin. Though little to nothing has changed, fans have taken notice of the outrage on social media platforms from her followers who have been calling for greater protection, equity, and respect for their favorite player. It seems as though the league didn't care enough to make the required adjustments, and Clark feels abandoned.
Watching women's basketball right now, it all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
And after being unfairly targeted and treated season after season, Caitlin Clark is at last paying attention to her followers. She has decided to take control of her career by leaving the WNBA since she has had enough of the league's disregard. Clark is looking for a new chapter where her extraordinary talent, enthusiasm, and impact on the game will be acknowledged as they have long been. Now, let's talk about the repercussions. There's no need to sugarcoat the fact that a major downturn in the WNBA is imminent. And the reason for this is that they failed to recognize Caitlin Clark's critical role in the league's success. The WNBA would immediately lose viewers and revenue without Clark. Everyone followed Caitlin Clark anytime she was on the floor, whether they were casual viewers or ardent basketball fans, as she was a major attraction for the league. Clark, Caitlin.
Fact that she was getting all of that, yet all of these eyeballs were coming to the league because of her. The Indiana Fever was turning away games into home games.
Her departure has left the WNBA with the enormous job of filling the hole. Indeed, the league does have other gifted players like DJ Carrington and Angel Ree, but let's be honest, they lack the power and charm that Clark offered to the game. Their talent is not being diminished in any way. They are both amazing athletes. However, Caitlin Clark was functioning at a completely different level. She wasn't merely a participant. She was an inspiration. Additionally, the WNBA wasn't the only attraction. Her daring shooting skill to dominate games and her competitive nature drew them in, making her an athlete to watch. The WNBA is just now seeing the full scope of the Caitlin Clark effect. Millions of cash would be lost from TV partnerships, sponsorships, ticket sales, and merchandise if Clark were to leave. All of this will have a significant negative impact, and worse, it was preventable. The league had every chance to protect Caitlin on the court, provide her the support she required, and treat her with the dignity she deserved as the league's spokesperson. However, they were unsuccessful.
Last day viewership, which is up 400% to 40%. Between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%. Between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%. What Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days.
They will now be held accountable for allowing issues to get worse. The WNBA will soon find out their losses. As a result, Caitlin's exit is a sea change that might have catastrophic consequences for the league's future. In Europe, what particularly has been promised to Caitlin Clark? The astounding amounts that are being thrown about would stop anyone cold. Several sources claim that the contract she was promised is far greater than anything the WNBA has ever provided in the EuroLeague, where players are treated like kings. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Caitlin. The choice to relocate overseas essentially came to itself. A team might be present. She will not only make a lot more money, but she will also have more time to rest, recover, and play to her full potential if she plays fewer games.
Would be a team overseas who would love to snatch Caitlin Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games. And
Europe is providing Caitlin with a chance to represent the entire league in addition to handing her a contract. Imagine thousands of people cheering loudly as Caitlin enters the court and the lights go down. Every shout from the audience reverberates throughout the stadium as she walks up to take a deep three, demonstrating the tangible intensity in those packed arenas. But things are different this time. Watching a basketball game isn't the only reason the fans are there. They're supporting her. Knowing this, the EuroLeague is prepared to use her as their brand ambassador and treat her like the global superstar that she is.
How's it feel? Do you care?
It goes beyond just Europe providing Caitlin with a new platform to govern, making her the biggest basketball star in the world, with stadiums packed with devoted fans who cheer and respect every move she makes, is another goal. As Caitlin Clark gets ready to embark on a new chapter in her life, Europe is ready to make sure she shines brighter than ever. However, she is not alone in achieving noteworthy progress. The same path is being followed by other WNBA players who are starting to look for greater opportunities. For example, it has been reported that Caitlin is traveling to Europe, while Melissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell have decided to spend their off-season playing in China. As WNBA players realize that playing overseas not only offers significantly higher pay, but also better treatment overall, they are progressively following this trend. The WNBA's salary scale just cannot compete with what other international leagues are offering in terms of experience, quality, and money.
All of this comes together, and you need a star. And she is.
The decision to play internationally is becoming increasingly obvious as players like Caitlin, Kelsey, and Melissa realize the benefits of playing fewer games, getting more rest, and earning more money. It's simple to see why more sportsmen are choosing this route when you contrast the schedules, pay, and player care provided abroad. As all of this is happening, Jason Whitlock thinks Caitlin ought to lead an unmatched league in which the top players face off against one another during the WNBA's offseason. As a result, athletes like Alyssa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell would no longer have to fly overseas in order to get paid. Instead, they may earn a living in America thanks to a league that is unmatched in talent. Players will have more opportunities as a result, and they will be able to capitalize on the growth in women's tennis potential. We still have some amazing prospects in the works. They will not be paid what they are entitled to. Rather, they will need to make money from sponsorships. However, Caitlin Clark and the WNBA are given a completely new perspective by this unmatched league concept. This change ought to be a huge wake-up call for women's basketball. In addition to Caitlin Clark, the league faces a significant risk of losing other elite players. The WNBA may experience a mass exodus of talent if they don't take action and reconsider how they pay and handle its players. It is obvious that players can no longer accept fewer victories. They can get a lot more from international leagues. The WNBA must reevaluate its goals if it hopes to prevent an even greater talent drain in the future. And quickly.